It's always fun shooting on the ground because the dogs think they need to be involved in the process, which, you know, they often are. It is super frosty this morning. It was minus 26 when I walked these two. And so before I braved the cold, I actually sat down and ordered my seeds. And, you know, if you are a grower, you've probably already done it or are thinking about doing it in the next couple of days. But I do know that the seed companies are kind of trying to catch up with orders right now. And so it should be something you're thinking about if you're thinking about growing this year. And yes, of course, once kind of the spring season rolls around, you're going to be able to buy seeds at your local hardware store or grocery store or wherever you, nursery center, wherever you decide to buy your seeds. However, I grow in enough volume now that I do order seeds online. And I am just going to tell you the couple of places that I buy seeds from and what I got this year. So I faithfully had always ordered my seeds from William Dam. They are really great. They're a Canadian company. And they provide really good seed, and they do have a fairly good diverse selection of seeds and different varieties of vegetables and flowers and herbs and all things great for growing. And then last year, a friend of mine suggested I check out Seed Savers Exchange. And this is an American company, but they grow mostly heirloom varieties, and they focus on seed saving and the story and history about the seeds. And so I ordered from them last year, and I was actually able to order some heirloom varieties that I'm not able to get at William Dam, and I wasn't able actually to find in Canada. And that might just be me. So you may have a source that works for you, so stick with that. But I just wanted to give you one cool example of seed, because each seed variety has a story. And so last year I had the year of the bean. I grew a lot of different types of beans, and I was really happy with all of them. And so another one I picked this year is called Cherokee Trail of Tears. And so this is the story that goes along with it. Also known as Cherokee Black, this variety is good as both snap and dry bean. When mature, the greenish purple 6-inch pod encased shiny jet black seeds. The bean was shared with Seed Savers Exchange by the late Dr. John Witchy or Weishy of Hugo, Oklahoma. His Cherokee ancestors carried this bean over the Trail of Tears, the infamous winter death march from the Smoky Mountains to Oklahoma, 1838 to 39, that left a trail of 4,000 graves. So a pretty neat history, and it's cool to think that I'm going to be growing that same variety passed down by Dr. Wishy or Weishy, however it's pronounced. There is also a tomato, a yellow tomato that I grew last year and I will grow again this year that is named Dr. Wishy's or Weishy's Yellow. So just a little bit of history. And again, the name of this company is Seed Savers Exchange. So this morning, before the sun was even up and it was a beautiful sunrise, I had my seeds ordered. And so how I go about ordering seeds is I just go through the book, I write down the codes, and when I go online, then I just search the code and order the seed. And really that just stops me from over purchasing seeds that I'm not going to plant. Tulip's having a big old drink. She's going through her post-walk routine right now. So you can see here, I make a list of both things. And so I just wanted to talk to you briefly about kind of what I grow and why. When I first started growing a garden, I started very simple. I might have only grown about 6 things. And one of the things I learned early on is grow what you eat. So, unless it's flowers, of course, and even some of those are edible, but try not to grow things, especially a large volume of things that you don't eat. Because then it's just wasted unless you can give it away, which is also good. And I've made that mistake a couple of times, just trying new things to see if we would like them, things that I wouldn't normally buy in the grocery store. So last year I grew, what was new last year? Oh, cabbage was new, and I will do that again. However, we just had the year of the pest, so they mostly got demolished by earwigs, but we'll see if I can improve this year. I think it's just because the amount of organic matter. I digress. So I got a lot of the same, some new beans, more herbs. Last year I wanted to try more herbs, and I didn't have a great year for herbs, but they grew, so that was good. So this year, one of the things I wanted to try more of, or try for the first time. What is it called now? Oh, jeepers. I forget the name of it. There it is. What is this thing called? Kohlrabi. My friend said that they really liked it, so I'm gonna give it a shot. I always like to think about, if I'm not gonna eat it, who's going to eat it? And so now I've got chickens and rabbits. So the rabbits love the greens, so if nothing else, the rabbits are going to get some kohlrabi. And I'm not gonna grow a ton of it, because if we don't like it, then I won't have all of this excess, but I am going to grow some of it. I have also learned that some things I'm just not good at starting from seed. So last year I tried to grow onions from seed and it was a flop. So I'm not going to try to grow onions from seed again this year. The starts I got the year before grew amazing, massive onions. So I'm gonna stick with those again this year, get them locally. But also last year, what was kind of a flop, but somewhat of a success, was starting my own sweet potato slips. So those worked. The problem was the sweet potatoes that I grew. And I think it was just because my soil was too compact that they didn't do very well. So I'm going to try to amend with a little bit more organic matter this year and mulch. And hopefully that will allow me to grow some more sweet potatoes. I had some that were really, really good. We've already eaten them and they were absolutely delicious. So that was a fun little crop that I'll probably try to do here again this year. So much fun with animals. So kohlrabi is my new, along with a few herbs. And the other thing about buying from two different seed sources is that if you're going to save the seed, it's nice to have some diversity in kind of your seed collection. So that's why I like to get some from Seed Savers, some from William Dam, and then I'll save some from both. And then I'll continue to buy seeds every year. So this year I spent about probably $230 on seed, which really, if you think about it from a grocery perspective, is peanuts, because I won't go to the grocery store for any kind of vegetable that we would eat over the summer, and actually over the entire year. I haven't bought a vegetable. One more thing. I know you're all thinking about vegetables, herbs, and that kind of thing, maybe some new perennial plants, and you're planning for gardens. One thing you shouldn't forget about are your trees. So if you are in the market for trying to grow trees or shrubs, do it. This is the time to start thinking about ordering those plants, especially now. Trees and tree planting became very popular during COVID as well. But if you're planning on fruit trees or just trees in general, shade trees, conifers, start thinking about what you want, where you're going to get them from. Locally here, we have a lot of great tree suppliers. Pine Needle Farm is where we ended up getting our fruit trees a couple of years ago. So, you know, we might get a few more of those. I'd like to get some sour cherry trees this year. Nurseries will have catalogs out, and you can also go online to see what they have as far as trees, shrubs, things like that. Think native. So if you are in an area, look to see what plants are going to grow best in your environment. If you're trying to supply food or mast for animals, then look at your berry shrubs and your nut trees and things like that. But really, it is also really great for the environment to be planting trees. So if you have space, consider growing some trees and shrubs this year as well, along with your garden. The nice thing about trees and shrubs is they require very little care after the first couple of years. So they are, you know, a labor of love in planting and maybe maintaining as far as water is concerned, and staking and things like that, especially if it's a larger tree. But once they're established, you can just let them go. Our fruit trees do require a little bit more maintenance, but it's a good time of year that most of the maintenance happens in the late winter, early spring. So it doesn't take a lot of time to take care of those. So I wanted to remind everyone, it is time to start thinking about growing. Whether you're starting seeds, if you don't want to start your your vegetables from seed, no biggie. You can buy your starts or order your starts. You should be thinking about kind of what you want to grow this year so that you can get on the order wagon early to make sure that you get some stock. But again, you can get plants from just about anywhere these days. So, I encourage all of you to be thinking about what you can kind of grow in 2022. I had said last summer that I wasn't going to grow this year, but because of COVID, I'm not making any plans for travel. So we're going to pop some stuff in the ground and have another hopefully bountiful harvest and year of canning. Okay, I hope you all have a really great weekend and that you're thinking about what you could grow in 2022.